Hello, I am CJ Bannister, and welcome to the Sarasota Municipal Auditorium for the 21st Sarasota Film Festival. We are here to talk about a documentary filmed by Booker High School called Into the Storm, and we are here today with
Charles Williams. I'm a judge here in Sarasota, circuit judge.
Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us what your affiliation is with the film tonight?
Well, it involves a film by students from Booker High School. Booker High School is the visual and performing arts high school here in Sarasota. It's known for its video productions, for its dance productions, for its dramatic arts, for all of the creative arts. And one aspect of the Booker VPA, Visual Performing Arts Program, is they have a digital film club, and also they have a film program. And tonight is the premiere of a student-produced, student-directed film called Into the Storm.
We're so excited to see it. Could you tell us a little bit about what it's about?
Well, it's about the 1967-68 Booker High School basketball team. 1967 and 68 are pretty intriguing years in the Sarasota community. It was the first year that forced integration was really taking off. Booker High School is a historically African-American high school, and it also tells the story of the 67-68 Booker High School basketball team. It was a powerhouse basketball team. It was a team that would routinely score over 100 points, and basically the film tells their story of their quest for a state basketball championship.
Well, that's so exciting. Now, I've heard on the wayside that you have your own film club as well. Is that true?
Well, I actually work with a retired judge by the name of Duran Adams, and we have collaborated on some film projects. One of the film projects was, I don't want to say inspired this, but told a story of a football team at Lincoln Memorial High School about the same time as this, in which they dealt with the issues of segregation and integration, and when their high school was threatened with being shut down.
What an important topic. Can you fill us in a little bit about what your involvement was with the documentary?
Well, the students had actually come to me because they had heard about the film Through the Tunnel, and they were interested in telling a similar story, this time involving the basketball team at Booker High School. So after viewing the documentary, they came to me to ask some questions about how to put it together. And so I sort of gave them some ideas about what we did to put our story together, but they did all the heavy lifting. So my role was more of a sort of person who they would bounce ideas off of. I won't say that I was the creative part of it, but I certainly gave them a lot of feedback.
What an incredible film to be a part of as the chief circuit judge of the 12th Circuit here. Why is it important to you to be a part of something like this here locally?
Well, I consider Sarasota the arts capital of the state of Florida. I think it's very important that we also are able to support students and young people in their pursuit of the arts. And so when you can combine education, history, and the arts in one swoop by having a film like this, I think it's something that's worth supporting.
Wonderful. And could you tell us what you want people to take away from this film today?
Well, first of all, I want them to understand how important the civil rights struggle was in 1967 and 68. This story talks about individual personal crisis that happened to the basketball team, but it also tells a broader story of how Sarasota as a community dealt with the integration of its schools, which was not always pretty. Booker High School was actually asked to be closed by the Sarasota School Board. The students and the faculty and the families of students at Booker High School refused to do it, and they actually boycotted the school for a while. While all of this was going on, this great basketball team was playing for a state championship. So, you know, on the broader scale, it talks about how this country has dealt with integration and segregation, but on the smaller scale, it tells the personal story of how individuals had to deal with it also.
I am really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it, and back to you. back. Today we're here with Lindsey Jennings. She's going to tell us a little bit more about Into the Storm. Lindsey, what was your involvement?
I was the assistant director for Into the Storm.
And how did you get involved to a film like this?
Well, the idea was presented to us by our teacher. It was an idea that the seniors before didn't want to take because we make a documentary every year. And so it was presented to me and Carol Falls, the director and editor and everything.
It's okay. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about why the theme behind the film is it was written in the 60s, right? Or it's about Booker High School's basketball team in the 60s, right? Tell me what about that is important to you and why you wanted to be involved.
I think it was important because it's a story no one has ever told before. It's a story a lot of people didn't know, how Booker High School was shut down before and how the students protested. No one knew this. We've talked to international experts on racism, and no one knew that there were solely student protests. And it's crazy, and no one knows about it. So it's kind of like a lost history that we're really excited to share and preserve in a way of film before some of these people are lost and before the story, as much as we can get, is lost, you know?
That's incredible. So tell me a little bit about what you did with the film and maybe some of your challenges.
Well, I collected a lot of the B-roll. I was at every single shoot for the interviewees. A lot of the challenges we had was actually getting images from the time period because it was a lower class neighborhood and there was like not as much money to just have cameras laying around, you know, and just the preserving of those images were an issue sometimes, but with businesses like Jetson's Grimes Museum and help from the Historical Resource Center, we were able to get pretty much all of them that we know of from the community during this time period.
That's incredible. And tell me, you're a senior at Booker High School, is that correct? Okay, so are you involved in a film academy? Like, what are your aspirations in doing a film like this?
I plan to go to Ringling after I graduate. I think... Well, I'm not sure what you mean by the question. Like,
okay, tell me your best, or what was your best part about being involved with the film?
I think my best part was really just getting to know these people, you know, and a lot of them think their story isn't significant. A lot of them declined when we first tried to talk to them. They were like, no, I have nothing to contribute. And then they turned out to be the biggest, like, people during this protest and everything. So it was crazy just to... Like, we want to make them know that they were very important during this time period and that it was very influential.
Yeah, the issues that they faced are nothing like we're facing today, right? Can you tell me, what is one thing that you want people to take away from this film?
I want them to take away how we should be preserving history of any kind, you know. I want them to take away that Newtown is a very historically rich community and a lot of people don't really know that or understand that. I also want them to take away how the students in the protests, they were high schoolers. They were my age, you know, and they're making these huge decisions based just on their school and how much love they had for their community. So I think just the fact that anyone can do that, you know.
Well, great job. We're excited to see the film. Thank you so much for being here. Back to you. Welcome back to the Sarasota Municipal Auditorium as we're celebrating the documentary Into the Storm that was produced by Booker High School. Today we are here with
Quentin Glover.
And Quentin, tell us about how you got involved to the film.
I'm actually a friend of Lindsey's and Carol's. I used to be in the program with them, but I left the program to, I guess, go do other things.
And are we talking about the film program at Booker High School, or what program are you referring to?
The Digimo Film Motion and Design program.
Okay, and so what was your part in creating this documentary?
I actually act in the opening scene. I play young Howard Porter. He's one of the main basketball players.
He absolutely is. Back in that time, it was the 66 and 67. He was averaging 35 points a game. I was reading up on that. Anyway, so you're playing his part, correct?
Yes, I am.
What was your favorite part about filming this documentary?
Honestly, it was all pretty great. I was there for like about an hour. I didn't do too much, but while I was there, it was pretty fun.
Very good. Is there anything that relates to you or that you feel is important about this film?
As a black guy, going to high school, I think it's pretty important that this story gets heard, as these kids, they couldn't even go to school because of desegregation. So,
And are you at Booker High School still?
yes, I am. I'm a sophomore currently in Booker High School.
Yeah, it is incredible to think that the things that they were going through, they were your age, right?
Yeah.
And imagine what that would have been like. So we're excited to see the film. Well, tell me, what do you think? What would you like people to take home after viewing this documentary?
Just like a sense of respect for the people that had to go through this stuff. Because like I know at first glance, or when you first hear it, you think, well, I mean, they just didn't go to school for a couple weeks, but it's really more than that. And I think that they should try and take that away from this documentary.
Absolutely. They were a very courageous young group of people, weren't they? Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Back to you. Welcome back to the premiere of Into the Storm with the 21st Annual Sarasota Film Festival. We are here today with
Kiara Harris.
Kiara. Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us what your involvement was in the creation of this documentary?
I worked on a bit of everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff, like the audio, some vector designs with the credits, just here and there, wherever they needed me,
Wonderful. Are you a part of the film club over at Booker High School?
Yes.
And what grade are you in?
I'm in 12th.
Wonderful. So can you tell me what was your favorite part about creating this documentary?
It was really about learning the journey of some teens that had the power to change the world. Like, they really had the power to get their school back up, and it was just a great story to learn.
That's awesome. Can you tell me some of the challenges that you went through?
The interviews, reaching people, contacting people, it was kind of hard, but we managed to do it,
And what do you think is the most important takeaway that you've learned from this film?
That as a teen, as an adult, you can manage to accomplish anything you want, as long as you believe.
As long as you believe? Great. And then tell me, what is one thing you would want people to take away from the film when they leave here tonight?
No matter what age, you are able to accomplish whatever you want, whatever you believe.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be right back.
Is Malcolm Story here? And two of the players who are not able to be with us, Johnny Belvin and Nate Butler, unless they are here, and I didn't see them. If you are here, please stand up. And then Hugh Yancey is our fifth player, and he is here. Thank you.
Welcome back to the 21st Annual Sarasota Film Festival. Tonight we are discussing a great film produced by Booker High School called Into the Storm. And with us today we have Miss Atkins, who is 100 years old and was around during that time. What can you tell us about living through those times?
Oh, I can tell you, beautiful. I had a beautiful life. I had 10 kids, and some of them is gone, but I got some living, and I have a son, Freddy Atkins. He's here, but I have my baby son is in Miami, and my oldest daughter, is in Northport. Mm-hmm.
And were you a part of creating this documentary, this film? Were you in the film?
What?
The movie tonight. Were you a part of that?
Yes.
And can you tell us how you were a part of that? Were you acting in it? Did they film you?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And what did you enjoy about that film?
I just enjoyed everything. I just enjoyed everything about it.
Okay, wonderful. Is there anything that you want people to know about the film or about that time period?
No, it just was a wonderful time. It was just a wonderful time.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are here with Coach Baker of the documentary Into the Storm that was produced by Booker High School. Coach Baker, can you tell us a little bit about this documentary?
This, to me, is revitalizing the community of Sarasota. It tells about the struggle of Booker from his infancy to greatness. We started out struggling and ended up being the #1 team in the state of Florida and state championships and a 32-0 championship.
It's incredible. The story. I can't wait to see the story. But what I've heard that time, 1966 to 1967, was a very difficult time for those young people. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was, can you imagine, like overnight, being, say, a white student and you are transferred into a black community. And in some instances, you are 1 or 2 in a class of 40 and 3 blacks. That's what they had to go through.
And you know what? You were the coach that coached that team to the winning season. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there anything that you want us to know about this film or about that time that you think it's important for the audience to know?
That was a God blessing, God sent, God everything. The way that team came together. For an example, my co-brother at Florida A&M Sarasota, Kappa Alpha Psi, told me a young man by the name of Howard Porter was moving to Sarasota. Guess where he moved? Next door to me.
That's wonderful. And he is the star of the show. If I remember correctly, he was making 35 points a game. Is that correct?
That's correct. And on 2 occasions, he scored more than our opponents. Howard was a 3-time high school All-American. He's a college 3-time All-American. And he has record that still stands at Villanova today.
Does he really? That's incredible. Well, Coach Baker, thank you so much for being here today. Is there anything else that you want people to know before they leave tonight?
Well, I'm very happy for Booker, faculty, student body, and whoever else was involved to bring about this occasion. I thank them and I wish them Godspeed and God bless them.
Thank you, Coach. We'll be right back. Well done, Coach. Thank you. Welcome back to the 21st Annual Sarasota Film Festival. We are here with the players from the documentary Into the Storm that was produced by Booker High School. And we're here with 3 of the basketball players that performed back in 1966 and 67. Tell us a little bit about your involvement on that team.
Well, when I came on to the varsity, I was on the JV. And at the end of that time, they brought me up to the varsity team.
Wonderful. And what was your position?
Guard.
And tell me what it was like to be playing during that time.
It was very exciting. Very exciting, yep.
It was an incredible team for sure. How about you? What was your position?
My position was guard.
And tell me a little bit about your experience playing on that team.
Yes, I was the point guard, and I was the one that fed the ball to Howard Porter and Arthur Williams. I think I was number 3 scorer on that team that year, and it was a fantastic team. I think we averaged 107 points per game, and it was a great time during that time.
107 points, that's a lot. I know Howard Porter was averaging about 35 points per game. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you were the one feeding them to him?
That's right.
Wonderful. And how about you? What was your position?
I was a guard.
I am amongst good company. I have 3 guards here. So tell me a little bit about your experience playing on that team.
Well, it was one of the best basketball teams in the country at that time. And we averaged a little over 100 points a ball game. And we was 33-1 that year.
That was an incredible team, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Now, tell me a little bit about what it was like during that time period, because there were a lot of issues that you were facing back then. Tell me how you feel about that.
Well, I didn't want to get sent to an all-white school at the time. So I wanted to finish my year at Booker so we could repeat as state champions again for the 6th, 8th year. But according to the politics and everything happened, we had to go to Sarasota High.
Well, it's an unfortunate thing that happened, but I know that you players were very brave during that time. Is there anything that you want people to know about that time?
Yes, that it was a good time. Things happen for a reason, and the reason was for the integration of schools. So we understood. We just were fortunate to be the first class to integrate the schools in Sarasota County. So I feel good about that. I feel good about where education has gone from '67 to now.
Wonderful. And is there anything that you have left that you'd like people to know before they leave here tonight about this documentary?
Well, yes, it was a trying time back then. And like Malcolm said, we would like to have graduated from Booker, but some of us went to Sarasota High, and some of us went to Riverview High, and both schools benefited because they had some of the best teams or best scores during that year, best season, winning season.
Well, what an honor it is to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the interview, and we'll be right back.
That looks great.
Welcome back to the 21st Annual Sarasota Film Festival as we are celebrating the premiere of Into the Storm. We are here with one of the directors here tonight, and we're so excited to hear from her. What is your name again?
Carol Falls.
And Carol, tell us a little bit about how long did it take to make this documentary?
It's taken about a year.
And why was this film chosen, this issue?
It was offered to us by our teacher, John Timpey, and we thought it was an interesting topic because it's an untold story about the community.
Wonderful. What do you think is your favorite part about creating this film?
I was also the editor, and I think that was my favorite part because I got to put everything together, the story, the sound, everything.
And can you talk us through a little bit some of the challenges that you had, placing the issues together?
I've had to edit multiple times. There have been rough drafts and final drafts and then second final drafts. So I think putting it all together has been one of the biggest challenges.
Okay. And then tell me, what was it like to experience working with these basketball players and coaches as they shared their experience during that time?
It was really interesting because we got to see what it was like back then for our school, and we have such a different experience now going to Booker High School, and being a segregated school was just really hard for them, and it's interesting to see what their individual stories were.
And as the director, what is one thing that you want people to take away after watching this film tonight?
I just want people to know that what happened in the past wasn't fair to those who went through it, and the way they treated people with segregation was just very, I don't even know, it's just not cool.
It's hard to put into words, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We are really excited to watch the film tonight. We appreciate it, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the premiere of Into the Storm that was produced by Booker High School. Today we are here with
Freddy Atkins.
And Freddy, what was your affiliation with the film?
Well, I was one of the interviewers that was organizing the boycott for the school boycott in 1967.
So you actually lived through that boycott, didn't you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We helped create it.
Can you tell us a little bit what it was like to live through that?
Well, it was a special experience for us special young people. I was in 11th grade at the time, and our struggle was that our community had basically surrendered desegregation to the broader community, but when they came back to the city of Sarasota with the idea that our elementary school, Amarillo Park, would have to be taken apart and taken to the south side, we said enough was enough. We was going through enough of desegregation for us in high school, so for kids in elementary and primary school to have to go through that was unacceptable.
What an incredible topic to create a documentary on. What was it like to work with the kids nowadays and talk to them about these issues?
Well, first off, you have to realize that desegregation is over 50 years old in the city of Sarasota and Sarasota County. And so with that process, we've had to help people understand that it wasn't always like this. And then things just kind of changed to the better as we move forward. But here we are in a process where we have to keep reminding them that the struggle continues.
Amen. Now listen, tell us what is one thing that you want people to take away from when they leave this film tonight?
I want the young people that I've seen arrive to realize that they have power. They have opportunity to participate in this community, civic, and political and legal process to make a difference. They just have to decide where they want to stand.
Wonderful.
The word honorary sometimes is used as a passing remark to describe people who don't do much. And that is simply not the case with the Honorable Judge Williams. Judge Williams has sat as a jury on our board, and it's kind of fun having him as a jury instead of a jurist. And we make fun of it, but he's also a filmmaker. I think I saw your partner here too in some of your films, Durand Adams. Judge Adams, thank you for being here. But Judge Williams has been a stalwart supporter of not only the Sarasota Film Festival, but Booker. In fact, I think he's an honorary alumnus.
We'll verify that.
And rumor is that he knows how to play basketball. I'm not sure. The Honorable Judge Williams.
Thanks, Mark. First of all, I do want to acknowledge Dr. Shelley again. I had a little involvement with this film, but mostly it was sort of as a consultant. All the heavy lifting was done by the students and the faculty at Booker High School. And whenever anyone is involved with a film is truly, I like to call it a labor of love. It's something that not only the filmmakers have to deal with over a period of time, but in this case, the whole community, because this film speaks to the community of Booker High School. I think I do hold a role as an honorary alumni for Booker High School, so I will take a little credit for that. But this film not only tells the story of this outstanding, magnificent, legendary basketball team, and this isn't hyperbole, this was a super basketball team, but it also tells the story of what was going on during that time. It's very important that whenever we acknowledge the arts, we should also understand that art teaches us history. The city of Sarasota is an art city, but like all cities, it has a past. Some of the past is not very pleasant. Some of the people that are here had to live through that, the days of segregation and the early days of integration. So what we hope that this film does is educate those who are not aware of that history, and also remind us that this history is something that we must never forget. Because if you forget your history, you may be doomed to repeat it. And many of the things that we see going on today are a result of people forgetting their history. But we celebrate tonight that magnificent Booker High School basketball team, and we celebrate with this community. And this film is about the community of Booker High School. And it celebrates the long-lasting legacy of these players, the long-lasting legacy of Booker High School that no one will ever forget. And this legacy shall continue. So I hope that you enjoy the film. I hope that after the film you're able to have a discussion about what you saw, because we hope that the film educates you, and we hope that you all, for at least tonight, become honorary Booker High School alumni. Thank you very much.
you.